You were never meant to toil for supply. You were never meant to strain, to struggle, or to wait endlessly for the wealth that already belongs to you. Money is not outside of you. It is not some distant treasure you must chase down in the world. It is a shadow, a reflection, an echo of your own inner state. The riches you seek, the abundance you desire, the sudden financial windfall you dream of. It is all waiting in your imagination, and your imagination is the only true reality. What you assume to be true becomes your experience, not because the outer world changes first, but because your inner world makes it so. When you dare to believe in the unseen and assume the feeling of wealth before it appears, you step into the creative act. You stop waiting. You stop hoping. You begin knowing, and that knowing is the secret. To manifest huge sums of money in 2 days or less, you must forget time. 2 days is not a deadline. It is simply a signal to the mind that something swift is possible. Time bends to consciousness. Time is not fixed. It is flexible, responsive, and obedient to the one who knows their imagination is God in action. So let us begin not with action in the outer world, but with the inner act of assumption. Sit quietly. Withdraw your attention from what your senses tell you. The bank account, the bills, the job, the facts. Ignore them all. They are the result of old beliefs, and you are creating something new. In this stillness, declare within yourself, I have received it. It is done. Not I want it, not I hope it comes, but I have it now. Feel it real. Feel the joy, the relief, the power of seeing that sum of money in your hands, in your account, in your experience. Hold nothing back. Accept it as done, even if your reason screams otherwise. You must die to the old man, the old you who was broke, who feared, who doubted. That identity cannot enter into your new state. The old man is always trying to fix things, worry about how, trace every possible way it might happen. But you are not the old man. You are the I am, and the I am creates without effort. It simply declares, and it is. You are not waiting on money. Money is waiting on you to occupy the state where you already have it. Enter into the feeling of abundance, boldly, deliberately, completely. Don't ask whether it's possible. That question is unnecessary. It already exists. Infinite money is already here. In the unseen, all things exist. But they exist first in the realm of imagination. You do not need to convince anyone, plead with any power, or work yourself into a frenzy. You only need to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and dwell in it. Feel yourself walking into a room, knowing you are financially free. Hear your inner conversation, friends congratulating you, your own voice saying it came through. I don't even know how, it just showed up, unexpectedly, but exactly when I needed it. See yourself opening your bank app and smiling. Feel the emotional satisfaction, the calm, the thrill. Then let it go. Do not try to force it. You are not planting a seed and then digging it up every hour to see if it's growing. You drop it into the soil of the subconscious and walk away in full confidence that it will emerge. Every time doubt creeps in, go back to the feeling. Say to yourself, it is done, it has already happened. Refuse to entertain the old story. Refuse to give attention to the lack. You are not manifesting from effort. You are manifesting from identity. You are simply being the version of yourself who has already received it. That is the secret. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. Become the one who already has what you desire, and it must come. You are not trying to get money. You are expressing the power that already contains it. Your very consciousness is the source. You are the operant power. Your awareness of being wealthy is the cause of wealth. No outer circumstance has the final say. You are not a victim of the world is a victim of your imagination. If you will take just 2 days, 2 days to completely turn within, to ignore the evidence of the senses, to refuse fear and walk in the end, you will see the result. You will see the phone call, the check, the unexpected gift, the business deal, the refund, the favor, the sale, the opportunity. You will say, I don't know how it came, but it did. And it came because you assumed it, felt it, became it. The moment you accepted it within, you set in motion all the invisible forces necessary to bring it to pass. The law does not fail. The law responds. When you speak, I am rich, and feel the truth of it, you become rich. When you say, I have received, and move as one who has, then nothing can stop it. You have taken possession in the unseen, and the seen must conform. Be bold. Do not wait for permission. Do not test the waters with hesitation. Leap into the feeling. Give thanks now, as if the money were already here. Praise now, rejoice now, rest now. That is the faith that moves mountains. That is the knowing that makes the invisible visible. That is the power that turns desire into reality. Not by force, but by assumption. All things are ready. If you are, the question is never, how long will it take? But how deeply will you believe? If you will believe it is possible, if you will live from the end and not just wish for it, then 2 days is more than enough. Manifestation is not slow. Belief is, and when belief becomes firm, unwavering and alive, manifestation becomes instant. Dare to assume, dare to feel, dare to receive, and you will know the truth. Money was never outside of you. It was always waiting for your permission to appear. The assumption is the key. Not a vague hope, not a weak wish, but the full conviction that what you have imagined is already yours. Do not ask whether you are doing it right. That is the voice of the old state, trying to pull you back into doubt. You will know you are doing it right when the feeling within you shifts, when the sense of possession takes root in you so deeply that you feel peace even in the absence of physical proof. That peace is the sign, that calm certainty is the evidence that the seed is taken. In this state of mind, do not look to the world for confirmation. Let the world catch up to what you have already claimed. It must. That is law. But if you look too soon with the eyes of fear, you dig up the seed. If you beg, worry, check for signs every few minutes, you slow the process. The world changes when you no longer need it to. It's the paradox. The moment you feel you must have something to be happy, you are no longer in the state of having. It means you have fallen back into the state of wanting, and wanting only creates more wanting. Instead, abide in the end. Dwell in the result. Think from the place of already having, not of trying to walk around your house as though it were filled with signs of wealth. Breathe as though everything you could ever need is already provided. Look at your hands and imagine what they now hold. See yourself counting the money, feeding it, depositing it, spending it freely and joyfully. Watch your imagination as it replays your new reality. That scene, replayed often with belief, is your command to the universe. It is the blueprint of the future. Do not concern yourself with the bridge of incidents. The bridge will form itself. You do not need to know how, or when, or through whom. This is not your burden. Your only task is to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not sabotage it with thoughts of limitation. Do not say, but I don't know anyone who would give me that kind of money, or my job doesn't pay that much, or there's no opportunity for this right now. Those thoughts are lies. They are echoes of the old man, the former self, who lived in lack. You are not that person anymore. You are the one who says it is already done, and feels the truth of it. And the truth you accept within becomes the fact you live without. The world is yourself pushed out. It can only show you what you are conscious of being. Become conscious of being wealthy. Occupy that state. Think from that state. Speak from that state. Do not declare what you do not want. Every word you speak must be aligned with your new reality. Say nothing that contradicts it. Let the words of lack die on your tongue before they are ever born. There is no power outside of consciousness. No institution, no system, no circumstance has more power than your own assumption. You do not need luck. You do not need a sponsor. You do not need the stars to align. You only need to accept the truth, that what you feel and assume and believe is what must unfold. And if that belief is strong, if that assumption is clear, the manifestation will be swift, instantaneous in many cases, because once the inner change is total, the outer reflection appears rapidly. Do not attempt to mix the new and the old. Do not try to be wealthy in your mind while still behaving in fear in your actions. There must be alignment. The thoughts, the words, the actions, all must match the inner knowing. If you say, I am rich, but then hoard every coin with anxiety, you are declaring lack louder than wealth. If you say, I believe, but then search for signs as though doubting its arrival, you are denying your own power. Let go of all contradiction. Speak only that which supports your assumption. Even in casual moments, even in small talk, let your words reflect the new state. Let your inner dialogue shift. Stop rehearsing hardship in your thoughts. Stop rehearsing old failures. Every time you do, you return to the state that created those results. It is not about positive thinking in the surface sense. It is about assuming the identity of the one who already possesses what you seek. Your mind is a workshop, a womb. It is always pregnant with something, some belief, some assumption, some image. And what it conceives, it will bring forth. You cannot think poverty all day and birth abundance. You cannot dwell on fear and read miracles. Whatever occupies your imagination becomes your life. So guard it, curate it. Select only those thoughts and images which confirm the reality you desire. The world is not fixed. Reality is not static. It bends constantly and faithfully to the one who knows how to assume the end. Ask yourself often, what am I imagining right now? If you find yourself imagining delays, denials, complications, stop. Gently but firmly return to the image of fulfillment. The imagination must be disciplined. Left unattended, it will drift back to the familiar. But when you master it, when you command it with love and certainty, it will astonish you. Think of the money, not as coming but as already here. Think of it not as a need, but as a possession. Rest in the knowing. There is a moment where faith turns into fact, not by physical evidence, but by inner conviction. You will know when you cross that threshold. Suddenly you will no longer care whether or not it has appeared yet. You will feel such fullness within that the outer world becomes irrelevant. And ironically, it is in that moment, when you no longer need it to prove itself, that it rushes in. Money is energy. It responds to certainty. It follows the current of assumption. You do not need to chase it. Beg for it, earn it through sweat. It comes easily to those who feel worthy, to those who expect it, to those who claim it without fear. It moves toward clarity. Be clear. Be bold. Be still. Say to yourself often, it is mine now. I have it. I am grateful. Gratitude is not a reaction, it is a creative force. The manifestation. You are proving to yourself and to the unseen world that it is already real. Gratitude in advance is the song of the fulfilled soul. It is not a trick. It is not a ritual. It is a vibration that aligns you with the outcome you have chosen. When you walk in gratitude, you walk in the end. And the end will always call the means to itself. Do not wait for the evidence to begin rejoicing. The rejoicing is the evidence. When you can smile, relax, and feel the fullness of having received, while the world around you still appears the same, then you have succeeded in shifting states. And that shift is the cause of all appearances to follow. Most wait for the money to appear before they feel secure. But that is backwards. Feel secure now, feel rich now, feel lucky, open and overflowing now. And the world will reflect it. This is not denial of facts. This is the rearrangement of facts through assumption. You are not pretending. You are selecting. You are not ignoring reality. You are creating a new one. You are not escaping. You are standing in dominion. When the world tells you it's not possible, say within yourself, it is already done. When the bank balance says insufficient, you say, I am abundant, not with anxiety, not with force, but with quiet confidence, the confidence of one who understands the law. You have the right to be wealthy. You were not born for lack. You were not designed for poverty or fear. You are here to express the fullness of the infinite through form. And money is one form. It is neutral. It is neither holy nor unholy. It is not dirty, it is not evil. It is energy molded by consciousness. And it will serve you when you believe you are its rightful steward. Let go of guilt. Let go of shame. Let go of the old stories that say you must struggle to be good, that you must suffer to be spiritual. You are good now. You are whole now. You are chosen now. Everything is responding to you. Your inner world is the projector, and the outer world is the screen. Do not try to fix the screen. Change the film. Rewrite the story. Let the script of your mind reflect wealth, overflow, ease. Replace every inner statement of I can't with I already have. Replace every maybe someday with now. Time is not your master. You are the master of time. When you decide something is possible now, time will bend to accommodate you. Ask yourself, what would I feel if I knew the money had already arrived? Would you worry? Would you pace? Would you second guess? No. You would rest. You would breathe deeply. You would feel light. You would carry yourself differently. You would walk into rooms with a calm power. You would make decisions from knowing, not from fear. Begin that now. You do not need to wait for the outer to match the inner. When the inner is true, the outer must follow. Money is not a miracle, it is natural. It is not random, it is obedient. It goes where it is welcomed. So welcome it, speak well of it. Imagine it lovingly. Stop seeing it as distant, hard, or mysterious. See it as normal, easy, expected. Say to yourself often, money loves me. Money finds me. Money flows to me in rivers. Not because the words have magic, but because your state behind them becomes magnetic. It is your state that determines your supply. Let your state be one of receptivity, confidence, expectancy. Do not try to manage the outcome. Do not attempt to guess the route. That is not your business. You are not the architect of the bridge. You are the one who walks across it. Let the universe surprise you. Let it astonish you. The more you try to control the form, the more you interfere with the power. Just remain in the end. Remain in the knowing. Say to yourself, I trust the unseen. I trust the process. I trust my own creative power. When you walk by faith, you cease being a beggar and become a creator. And when you create with intention, money responds. It cannot ignore the vibration of certainty. It cannot bypass the consciousness of abundance. The law is always working, for better or worse. You are always manifesting knowingly or unknowingly. So choose to do it with awareness. Become deliberate. Become precise. Become faithful. Faith is not loud. It does not scream or beg. It smiles. It knows. It acts as though the prayer has already been answered, because it has. When you pray, believe that you have received, not will receive, not might receive, but have received. This is the key that unlocks every door. Act in harmony with the belief that your desire is fulfilled. This is not pretense. It is spiritual law. What does it mean to act as though your desire is fulfilled? It means you move through your day with the consciousness of the one who has already succeeded. You dress, speak, breathe, and live from the end. You no longer question, will it happen? You affirm, it has happened. Even in the face of appearances to the contrary, you do not waver. You hold the inner image steady, and when you do, reality bends to meet you. You may hear a whisper of doubt. Let it pass like a cloud. Do not fight it. Do not entertain it. Return your focus to the fulfillment. If the outer world contradicts your assumption, remind yourself, the outer always lags behind. It is the shadow, not the source. The source is within. Stay loyal to that inner world. It is the workshop of miracles. What you build there must be expressed here. Do not underestimate the power of a single assumption. One moment of true belief, one moment of absolute inner alignment can overturn years of struggle. One instant of clear vision can draw to you what effort never could. When you align fully with the state of the wish fulfilled, time collapses. Things happen quickly, unexpectedly, elegantly. People, places, and events rearrange themselves to match your new state. You do not force this, you allow it. There is no limit to what can happen in 2 days. None. The limitation is only in your acceptance. If you say it can't happen that fast, you close the door. But if you say it can happen now, and truly feel that, the door swings wide open. The speed is not determined by the world. It is determined by your belief. Time is not your enemy. It is your servant. You can be as rich as you dare to assume. You can be as free as you believe. No power can stop the one who assumes boldly, believes deeply, and acts in faith. The world will move. The money will come. The way will appear. It is law, and the law cannot fail. So stand tall. Stand still. Stand within the feeding of your prayer, already answered. Do not look around to check if it's working. That betrays doubt. Instead, give thanks. Smile. Rejoice. Praise in the face of nothingness. That is the sign of a master. And the master never begs for results. The master knows that reality must bow to the imaginal act. Whatever you desire, whether it be 10,000, 100,000 or more, assume it boldly. Enter the state of wealth. Feel the possession. Embody the outcome. and then let life unfold. The door will open, the way will appear, the call will come, and you will say, I imagined this. I knew it would come. I just didn't know it would be this perfect. That is the wonder of the law. It brings more than you ask in ways you never expect, but always exactly on time. And the moment it comes, it will feel natural. Not shocking, not alien, because you will have lived in the state for so long within that when the outer matches it, it will feel like coming home. It will feel familiar, because you have visited it so many times in imagination. You will say, of course, this is exactly how it was supposed to be. You will look around at the evidence of your inner work and see clearly nothing came by chance. Every dollar, every opportunity, every open door came in answer to your sustained assumption. It could not have been otherwise. You made no bargain. You offered no sacrifice. You simply assumed, believed, and persisted, and the law responded faithfully and without fail. There are those who will ask, but isn't this selfish? Isn't it wrong to desire so much money? But do they ask the flower why it blooms brightly? Do they ask the river why it runs deep? You were born to expand, to express, to overflow. Money is not the root of evil. The absence of understanding is when you use money as a tool to bless, to create, to give freely, you elevate the world. You shine as a light. You become a vessel through which divine supply flows into human form. This is not selfish. It is sacred. So stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop shrinking your vision to match the beliefs of those who do not know who they are. You are not here to live small. You are not here to just get by. You are here to reign, to imagine boldly, and to manifest without limit. And wealth, true wealth, is simply the natural response to the one who knows they are worthy of it. It is a reflection of inner expansion, a mirror of self-concept. You must stop asking whether you are deserving. That question is rooted in the old man, the false self, the conditioned identity. The truth is, you are already worthy. You are already chosen. You are already enough. There is nothing to earn. There is nothing to prove. You receive not because you are good or bad, but because you have aligned yourself with the state that allows it. That is all. The universe does not judge. It reflects. It mirrors. It gives you what you are conscious of being. So take the consciousness of the rich man, the woman of overflow. Feel their breath in your lungs. Take on their thoughts. Live in their confidence. Expect what they expect. Do not just visualize money. Embody the state of the one to whom money comes with ease. The one who is never in lack. The one who lives by a different law, a higher law. This is not about pretending. This is about becoming. You are not faking anything. You are revealing who you've always been beneath the fear. You are unlearning lack. You are releasing the lie of separation from your source. You are awakening to the truth that abundance was always yours, waiting on your claim. You do not chase money. You do not even attract it in the common sense. You reveal it by revealing the version of you that already lives in it. The question is not, can I have it? The question is, am I willing to assume it is already mine? If the answer is yes, and if you hold that assumption with feeling, with repetition, with quiet certainty, the result is inevitable. The law makes no exceptions. The moment you claim your wealth in the unseen, the scene begins to rearrange itself to match. The forms may change. The timing may surprise you, but the fulfillment is certain. It cannot be otherwise. People will say, how did this happen so fast? And you will smile, because they did not see the nights you spent in your imagination, saturating your mind with wealth. They did not hear the inner conversations you changed, the doubts you dissolved, the old beliefs you silenced. They will see the fruit, but they will not know the invisible root. But you will know, and that knowing will become your power. What you create in 2 days, you can create in 2 hours. What you create in 2 hours, you can create in 2 minutes. Time is not the issue. Readiness is. Readiness means full identification with the desired state. When you no longer see yourself as trying to be wealthy, and simply are wealthy in consciousness, the gap closes, the outer catches up. Time is the servant of the mind. And remember, faith is not something you muster. It is something you allow. You do not force belief. You surrender to it. You say, yes, I accept that this is already mine. You stop trying to control. You stop trying to convince yourself. You simply agree. And in that agreement, everything begins to move. The world becomes your echo, and it repeats what you have first whispered within. This is why you must take responsibility for what you imagine. Do not imagine failure. Do not imagine delay. Do not imagine things going wrong. These thoughts are not harmless. They are instructions to your world, and the world obeys. So fill your imagination with scenes of success, with conversations of celebration, with visions of your bank account overflowing, of your needs met with ease, of your giving and receiving in joy. See yourself laughing as the money arrives. Feel the satisfaction of answered prayer. Hear your own voice saying, "It came exactly when I needed it. It came just in time." That is your inner reality. Make it vivid. Make it alive. Visit it often. That is the state that brings the manifestation into sight. And when it comes, it will come so naturally that you may even forget you once worried. That's the beauty of it. The new state becomes so real, so dominant, that the old one fades like a dream. All it takes is a decision, not a wish, not a plea, but a decision to assume the state of wealth. Right now, without needing evidence, without waiting for permission, just assume it, claim it, and let your every thought, word, and movement affirm it. That is the work. Not to strive, but to be. And once you've entered that state, do not be surprised when money appears in unexpected ways. Someone may offer you a gift, a refund may arrive, a forgotten check may surface, an opportunity may knock. These are just forms. Do not cling to the form, cling to the feeling. And if nothing shows up for a moment, do not be shaken. Stay the course, persist in the feeling. The law never fails, but it does demand loyalty, not to the world, but to your inner vision. 2 days is more than enough. A moment is enough if you truly believe. Let that belief be quiet and deep, not desperate and loud. Let it be still. Let it be unshakable. Let it be so strong that even if the world says no, you smile and say yes. I know, because you do know. You have seen it in your mind. You have felt it in your heart, and you have accepted it as done. And when it is done within, it is only a matter of time before it appears without. That is the rhythm of reality. The invisible first, the visible second. You are always creating from within. So go within now and live in the end. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Live there and refuse to leave. Let others worry. Let others doubt. You are different now. You are awakened to your power. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the author of it, the master of it, the source of it, and because of that, you can declare with quiet confidence and unwavering faith, the money is already mine. It is done. It is done. And so rest in the knowing, rest in the fulfillment. Do not look ahead in fear or behind in regret. Stand here now in the vibration of completion. Carry yourself as one who already possesses the thing once longed for. Speak only from the end. Walk only from the end. Let your imagination lead you and let your faith seal it. You do not need to figure out how. That is not your work. Your work is to remain loyal to the unseen reality you have assumed. Let the world conform to your inner truth. Let the riches of heaven pour into your life through the doorway of belief. It is already done. Walk on in that truth and watch as money comes, not by toil, not by striving, but by the irresistible pull of your consciousness made manifest. Now expect the evidence, not with anxiety, but with calm anticipation. It must come. It is law. I want you to imagine for a moment that the entire universe is conspiring in your favor. That every delay, every redirection, every moment of uncertainty is not an obstacle, but a blessing cloaked in disguise. Imagine that there is not a single atom, not a single breath you take, not a single step you walk that isn't being orchestrated for your highest good. Imagine that behind the curtain of appearances, behind what your senses report to you, everything is working out perfectly for you, even if it doesn't look like it. I am here to tell you that this is not mere fantasy. This is law. This is the truth. that governs your entire life, whether you recognize it or not. What you assume to be true, what you believe with conviction, becomes the life you live. You see, we are told, according to your faith, be it unto you. And faith is nothing but persistence in the assumption that something unseen is real. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you align with that law. You place yourself in harmony with the pattern of fulfillment. You walk, speak, and think from the end where the desired outcome has already happened. You do not ask how. You do not look for signs. You do not beg the universe. You simply dwell in the feeling of certainty, in the knowing that your reality bends to your assumption. There was once a woman who came to me, broken, defeated by life's apparent injustices. She said to me, "Neville, I have done everything. I have prayed, affirmed, visualized, but my life remains the same. What am I doing wrong?" And I said to her, "You are doing all these things from the standpoint of someone who lacks, who does not have, who hopes it will work out, but fears it may not. You must reverse it. You must act as if it has already worked out. You must feel the relief now. Live from the end." She began to take my words to heart. She stopped asking for change and began assuming the change had already occurred. She walked into rooms with a quiet confidence. She no longer waited for signs to believe. She believed first, and then the signs followed. The job came. The relationship improved. Her health transformed. But more than any of that, her inner world shifted. She lived in peace, in certainty, in power. You see, to act as if everything always works out for you is not arrogance. It is not delusion. It is the recognition of your divine inheritance. You are not some accidental product of chance. You are imagination itself, and imagination creates reality. Your world is your mirror. It reflects what you persistently assume to be true. What do you believe when things don't go your way? Do you spiral into fear? Do you assume failure? Or do you remember that appearances are only shadows cast by your inner light? I tell you, everything can change in an instant if you will. But assume it already has. You must feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must enter the state of the solution, not the problem. I have said before, and I will say it again, man is all imagination, and God is within you as your own wonderful human imagination. When you imagine that everything is working out for you, and you feel it deeply, you are speaking the language of God. You are commanding the world to take shape in your favor, and it must obey. It must. Do not be swayed by the evidence of your senses. Your senses show you what has been, not what must be. The moment you accept a new idea and clothe it in feeling, you have planted the seed. Whether or not you see immediate results is irrelevant. The seed is growing. And if you persist in the assumption that everything always works out for you, that seed becomes a tree, and that tree bears fruit. It is easy to believe when everything looks favorable. But the true power is found when you believe in spite of appearances. When the world says no, but your inner world says yes. When the bank account is low, but you walk as one who is already abundant. When the relationship seems lost, but you live from the state where love is already restored. How does one live like this, you ask? You begin with imagination. You close your eyes and see not with the eyes of flesh, but with the eyes of spirit. You imagine what it would feel like if you knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that everything was working out. You let that feeling saturate your being, and you carry it with you into the waking world. That feeling is the prayer. That feeling is the key, for feeling is the secret. Think of a time when something seemed to go wrong, but later you realized it was the best thing that could have happened. Think of the jobs you didn't get, the people who left you, the delays that frustrated you. All of them, in hindsight, were not mistakes. They were stepping stones. They were divine redirections. What if you could trust that in every moment? What if you could live from that trust now? The truth is, you already are the person who has everything working out. You already exist in that state. All states exist. Creation is finished. Your task is not to make something happen, but to select the state you desire and dwell in it. You move from one state to another by assumption, by conviction, by persistence. Every time you say to yourself, "It's always working out for me," you are reaffirming your place in that state. You are shifting your identity. You are becoming the one who lives in alignment with divine favor. And the world, being a faithful mirror, must show you what you assume. Let me remind you that it is not effort that brings about change. It is not struggle. It is not hours of laborious prayer. It is simply the acceptance of the end. If you can accept the end as real, now then the means will unfold naturally. Life will rearrange itself to reflect your inner world. I once knew a man who lived in constant fear of things going wrong. Every small inconvenience became a sign of doom for him. And surely life obeyed. His car broke down, his health suffered, his relationships crumbled. I told him, "My dear friend, you are not unlucky. You are simply faithful to the wrong assumption. Change it." He began to test this truth. He began to say, "Everything is always working out for me," not with hope, but with certainty. And though at first nothing seemed different, he did not waver. And then miracles began to appear. Unexpected checks arrived. Opportunities opened. He smiled more. He slept better. He had become someone new, not by doing more, but by assuming more wisely. You must decide right now that you are done entertaining doubt. You must become faithful to your vision, not your fear. Faithful to your future, not your past. The world you see is the outpicturing of your assumption. You do not change the reflection by scratching the mirror. You change the reflection by changing yourself. I am telling you, act as if everything always works out for you. And by act, I do not mean to pretend. I mean to live from the truth of it. Think from it. Feel from it. Let it be your inner atmosphere. And as within, so without. The law is never broken. The law is always working. It is your servant, waiting for your instruction. What would you do if you knew that success was guaranteed? What risks would you take? What steps would you stop delaying? What words would you say? What love would you give? What dreams would you pursue? Act from that version of yourself. For that version is not a fantasy. It is you, clothed in courage and trust. You are not here to merely react to life. You are here to create it. You are here to mold it with your inner conversation. Listen to what you are telling yourself when no one is watching. Are you affirming the outcome you desire, or the one you fear? Change the conversation. Begin to speak only that which you want to see realized. I am always supported. I am guided. I am favored. Life loves me. Things always work out for me. You will find yourself walking differently, talking differently. People will notice your energy. They won't be able to name it, but they will feel it, because you are living from the end. You are living from the kingdom within. The power is not outside of you. It never was. It is in your ability to assume the best and persist in that assumption. No matter what the outer world says, you stand firm in your inner knowing. That is true power. That is mastery. I urge you to test this. Not tomorrow, but now. Begin this moment to act as if everything is working out for you. When something unexpected happens, smile. Say to yourself, I may not see the whole picture yet, but I know this is part of it working out. And soon you will see the pattern. You will see the wisdom in every turn. You will live with peace, because you will know the truth. Your job is not to control the how. Your job is to maintain the inner state. If you can do that, the rest will take care of itself. Life responds to the dominant assumption. And when your dominant assumption is that everything always works out for you, then life has no choice but to conform. You are the author. You are the dreamer. You are not a victim of fate. You are a creator of form. And what you imagine in faith, you will encounter in fact. So go forth from this moment on, with the knowing that you are already on the path. Everything is unfolding perfectly. Trust that. Assume that. And act as if it cannot fail, because it cannot. You were never meant to struggle, to chase, to fight against the tide. You were meant to align, to allow, to assume with confidence and joy. Life becomes effortless when you live from the end. When you claim the feeling of already having that which you desire, the universe bends to your conviction. You are divine imagination. That is your true identity. And your world is clay in your hands. Mold it with love. Mold it with certainty. Mold it with the deep, unwavering knowing that everything is always working out for you. And it shall be so. Let us go deeper still. You must understand, this is not merely a psychological trick or a motivational mantra to make you feel better in the moment. This is metaphysics. This is law. This is the foundation upon which reality stands. The very moment you dwell in the inner conviction that everything is working out for you, you set into motion forces unseen that reshape the entire fabric of your experience. And while the change may not always be immediate to your senses, it is immediate in the realm that precedes form. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you stop fighting with the world. You stop resisting what is. You surrender, not in weakness, but in faith. You cease arguing with appearances, and instead you plant your feet firmly in your assumption. And that assumption becomes your new foundation, your new center of gravity. From that center, you can move mountains. To the world, it may seem irrational. It may appear foolish. They will say you are unrealistic, that you are ignoring facts. But I say to you, the facts are only shadows of former beliefs. They are the residue of prior assumptions. If you would but persist, the facts will change. The outer must follow the inner. It has no choice. It is law. Take no thought for the morrow, said the Master. Why? Because he understood that worry, doubt and fear are nothing but prayers for what you do not want. Instead, he pointed us toward the kingdom within. He taught us to live from the state of already having. When you pray, believe that you have received, and you shall receive. This is not metaphor. It is instruction. Precise divine instruction. Now imagine walking through your day with the inner knowing that life is unfolding in your favor. A delay at the airport, this is part of it working out. A rejection from someone you love, this too is working for me. An unexpected expense, even this is a setup for greater abundance. You start to live from the end of peace, not turmoil. From the end of success, not failure. The more you live in that state, the more your world becomes ordered by it. You draw to yourself people, events and opportunities that match the tone of your inner world, not by trying to control them, but by embodying the version of yourself to whom these things already belong. You don't have to beg for anything. You don't have to hustle, chase or strive. You have only to dwell in the state of knowing, the state of gratitude before the manifestation, the state of the wish fulfilled. You walk through life with an invisible crown on your head, not of arrogance but of assurance, because you know who you are. You know that your assumption is causative. You know that you are one with the source that forms the heavens and the earth. When you forget, because we all forget, come back to the state. Close your eyes and remember. Feel again what it feels like to be supported, loved, protected, favored. Feel it in your bones. Feel it until it feels real. For that is the test. Can you feel something so deeply that it becomes more real to you than the evidence of your senses? If you can do that, the world must catch up. It must reflect your inner knowing. The world is not solid. It is not fixed. It is fluid, malleable, shaped by consciousness. What you assume to be true hardens into fact. So why not assume the best? Why not assume that everything, yes, everything is rigged in your favor? You must understand that this is not something that works only sometimes. It is working always. The question is not whether the law works, but what are you impressing upon it? Are you filling the mold of your mind with faith or with fear? Are you rehearsing limitation or celebrating fulfillment? If you want to change your life, you must change your assumption. And to change your assumption, you must first catch yourself in the act of doubting. Notice the story you are telling yourself throughout the day. Is it a story of what if it doesn't work out, or is it a story of everything is already working out? Let me remind you, you don't need permission. You don't need evidence. You don't need anyone to agree with you. You need only your imagination and your willingness to dwell in the end. The end is what gives life to the means. The end is the cause. Live there and you will watch the whole world rearrange itself around your conviction. You are not here to try. You are here to be. You are not here to hope. You are here to know. And when you know deeply that everything is working out for you, you become immovable. You become unshakable. Storms may come, winds may howl, but you remain centered. You remain still, because your peace does not come from circumstance. It comes from assumption. It comes from the state within. That is true mastery. Not the ability to control events, but the ability to maintain your state regardless of them. The outer world becomes a theater in which your inner world plays itself out. You are the writer. You are the director. You are the actor. And the script is whatever you assume it to be. Now let this not be merely theory for you. Test it. Try it. Begin now. Pick one situation in your life that appears uncertain. Close your eyes and see the outcome you desire. Feel what it feels like to know it is done. To know that it is already yours. Carry that feeling with you. Do not drop it. Let nothing persuade you otherwise. And then observe. Watch how life moves. Watch how things align. Watch how miracles unfold, not because you forced them, but because you assumed them. You are never waiting on the world to change. You are only ever waiting on yourself to assume the change is already complete. When that inner shift happens,
everything changes. People begin to treat you differently. Circumstances turn in your favor. Doors open. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. All of it begins with one simple truth: everything is always working out for you. Let that be your mantra. Let that be your prayer. Let that be your dominant thought. Whisper it when you wake. Declare it when you walk. Sing it in silence. And in time, you will see that it was never the world that needed to change. It was only ever your assumption. You do not need to earn your good. You need only to accept it. And when you accept it as already true, life must match your acceptance. This is not hope. It is law. This is not magic. It is principle. Assume it is done. Feel it is done. Live as though it is done. And it is done. Now let us bring our attention to the simplicity of this practice. Many make the mistake of complicating the law. They seek advanced techniques, rituals, affirmations, and elaborate routines. But I tell you, it is the simplest act of all that yields the most profound results. The act of assuming, of entering the state, mentally and emotionally, and remaining there. You do not need a candle. You do not need the perfect moon phase. You do not need to repeat something 100 times. You need only to know it is done. What is assumption, if not a silent agreement with God? When you say in your heart, "This too shall work in my favor," you are aligning yourself with the divine intelligence that orchestrates all things. You are stepping into the current of life rather than fighting it. You are surrendering to the truth that all things are unfolding exactly as they must, to bring you to the manifestation of your desire. You may not always understand the path. You may not always see why certain detours appear, but I assure you, when you persist in the inner state, those detours become miracles in disguise. They become the invisible hand of grace, moving people, circumstances, and events with precision. But you must remain faithful, not to what you see, but to what you know within. There will be moments when everything around you seems contrary. The outer world will tempt you to abandon your assumption. The bank account may empty. The person may walk away. The opportunity may vanish. But these are merely tests, not from some punishing universe, but from your own deeper self. It is your inner reality, asking, will you remain loyal to the state, or will you react to the shadows? If you remain loyal, if you walk in the knowing that all things are working for your highest good, you will witness the rearrangement. You will look back in awe and say, what I once called a setback was my greatest setup. What I once called a problem was the portal to my answered prayer. This is how the law works. It bends to belief. It conforms to conviction. And conviction is born not of repetition, but of identification. You must identify as the one for whom everything always works out. Not sometimes. Not when you're lucky. Not when the stars align. Always, even now. As you hear these words, you are being invited into that state. You are being called to remember who you are. Not a victim of life, but the cause of it. Not a wanderer in chaos, but a creator in command. You were never meant to struggle. You were never meant to strive. You were meant to assume, to feel, and to receive. How do you know when you are in the state? You feel relief. You feel joy without reason. You smile at the silence. You are no longer grasping, chasing, needing. You are still. You are certain. You are aware that what you seek is already yours in the unseen, and therefore must come to pass. Do not concern yourself with when. Time is the servant of assumption. It bends and folds around your belief. What takes others years may come to you in days. What others must labor for, you will attract with ease. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You are aligning with the greater truth that your inner world is primary, and the outer must echo it. You need not convince others. You need not argue with logic. Simply remain faithful. Carry your inner conviction quietly, like a secret treasure, and let the fruits of your faith speak for themselves. For when you live in the state of everything is always working out for me, your life becomes a testimony, a walking miracle, a living prayer answered. Others will ask, how did you do it? And you will say, I assumed, I believed, I felt, I walked as though it were already true, and the world had no choice but to reflect it. Let this be your daily practice, not effort but assumption, not hustle but inner rest. Wake in the morning and step into the feeling. Walk through your day and return to the feeling. Rest at night in the peace of the fulfilled desire. Do not waver. Do not look back. Press forward in faith. When the winds of doubt blow, you anchor yourself in the state. When fear whispers its lies, you reply with your truth. Even this is working out for me. You speak it until it becomes your dominant vibration. And once it does, the world around you cannot help but align. You are not asking the universe to bless you. You are recognizing that it already has. You are not trying to create. You are revealing what is already true in the realm of spirit. You are simply moving from knowing to knowing, from fulfillment to fulfillment, without resistance. It is here, in this sacred inner posture, that miracles become ordinary. What once felt like fantasy becomes your new normal. You begin to expect the best, not because you are naive, but because you are awake to the truth of who you are. You are God in motion, imagination clothed in form, and when you assume, you create. So do not wait for the evidence to begin believing. Let your belief be the evidence. Let your assumption be the cause. Let your inner world dictate the terms. Everything you see, touch, and experience is but the echo of a prior state. If you would change the echo, change the state. Now pause and breathe. Feel the truth of these words, not in your mind but in your spirit. Let it settle. Let it take root. Begin to walk with the poise of the fulfilled. Begin to speak from the place of completion. Begin to look upon the world with eyes that see beyond appearances. For the unseen is more real than the seen, and what is real in imagination shall become real in form. I say to you again, act as if everything always works out for you, because it does, because it must, because you have declared it so, and your declaration is the seed from which reality grows. And so, beloved, let this be your final awakening. You are not at the mercy of fate, chance, or circumstance. You are the operant power. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you, as you, for you. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you are not pretending, you are proclaiming. You are standing in the authority of one who knows their imagination is God, and their assumption is law. Let the world call it delusion. Let the facts scream otherwise. You remain unmoved, for you have seen the truth. You have felt the power. You have touched the divine in the silence of your own consciousness, and you know now, with certainty, that nothing is too great, too far, or too impossible. You need only assume, and remain faithful. Walk forward now, not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. Wear the feeling of the wish fulfilled, like a second skin. Let it shape your tone, your steps, your silence. And as you do, you will watch in quiet wonder, as life bows to your belief, and the unseen becomes seen. This is your secret. This is your power. Act as if everything always works out for you, and it will. It always has. It always will, because you have finally remembered who you are.
You are not here by accident. You were chosen long before the world ever knew your name. There is something different about you, something sacred and unseen by the natural eye. You carry within you the seed of divine destiny, and whether you know it or not, life has been whispering to you, calling you upward, inward, into the remembrance of your true identity. That stirring you feel, that unrest, that desire for more, it is the call of the chosen. But the chosen are not just called to dream, they are called to protect the dream, to guard the vision, to shelter the word that has been planted deep within the heart. For there are forces in this world, some loud and obvious, others subtle and disguised, that seek to strip you of your awareness, to distract you, to drain your energy, to convince you that you are nothing more than what you see in the mirror, or what others say you are. You must protect yourself not with fists or walls, but with consciousness, with awareness, with the clarity of who you are, and the unwavering vision of what you carry within. Every chosen one faces this moment, the moment where the illusion of the world tries to overtake the reality of the unseen, where the outer seems more real than the inner, where you are tempted to believe the facts over the truth. But you must remember, you were never meant to live by sight. You were designed to live by inner knowing, by faith, by the unseen law that shapes reality from within. Before it's too late, before the distractions take root, before the noise grows louder than the whisper, before you become numb to the very thing that once made your spirit leap, you must come back to center, protect your mind, guard your thoughts. Every thought is a seed, and every seed becomes a harvest. What you dwell on, you become. What you assume to be true takes form. What you emotionally accept as real becomes your world. This is why the chosen must be deliberate. The chosen must be disciplined, not in body alone, but in consciousness, You cannot afford to entertain every voice, every opinion, every fearful thought. You cannot afford to let the patterns of the past dictate the future that belongs to the higher version of yourself. The world may call it delusion, but it is divine design. This radical inner alignment to the life you have not yet seen with the outer eye, but already know to be true within. There are people who once saw the light in you and then turned away. There are those who once walked with you, but could not walk where you are going. Don't grieve their absence. The chosen must sometimes walk alone. Not because they are unloved, but because they are being led by a voice no one else can hear. Protect that voice. Protect the word. Protect the vision. It is your lifeline in a world that would rather you forget who you are. This is not about being better than others. It is about being faithful to the call. You cannot be casual with your calling and expect it to manifest with power. You cannot sleep through your own awakening and expect the life you dream of to materialize on its own. You must wake up. You must rise. You must choose every day, every hour, to step into the version of you that already exists in the unseen and pull it into the now. If you do not protect yourself, the world will define you. It will limit you. It will tell you who you are, not in what you cannot do. It will name you by your failures, label you by your history, and drown out the inner witness that says you were made for more. But the chosen cannot afford to be passive. The chosen must speak with authority, walk in vision, and move in alignment with their inner truth, even when the outer says otherwise. You are not who the world told you to be. You are not your mistakes. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are not the limitations you were taught to believe. You are not your bank account, your background, or your circumstances. You are consciousness. You are spirit clothed in flesh. You are the word made manifest. You are the answer to a question the world has long forgotten how to ask. But if you do not protect that knowing, it will be buried beneath layers of doubt and delay. Procrastination will rob you. Fear will bind you. Distraction will seduce you. And soon, the thing you were once sure of will begin to feel like a distant dream. This is how it happens, not all at once, but little by little. A letting go here, a compromise there. Until one day you forget the power you once felt when you believed. Don't let that happen. Protect yourself. Guard your imagination. Speak only what you desire to see. Think only what aligns with your highest self. Associate only with those who feed your spirit and confirm your identity. Not by flattery, but by resonance. Not everyone can go where you are going. And that's okay. The chosen were never called to blend in. You were called to be light. And light does not apologize for shining. There is a shift happening now. You can feel it. The things that used to work no longer satisfy. The places you used to run to for comfort now feel hollow. The identities you used to wear like armor now feel too small. That is the sign. That is the invitation. But if you ignore it, if you keep pretending you're not chosen, if you keep shrinking to fit in, if you keep silencing the call within, you will miss the moment. Protect yourself before it's too late. Before you lose the fire. Before you start to believe the lie. Before you settle for what was never meant to be yours. There is still time. But time only serves those who are awake. The moment is now. The power is within, and you, yes, you are the chosen one. You have always known there was something more. Even as a child, before the world taught you to doubt, before you inherited fear that wasn't yours, you knew there was a silent knowing within you, a pull you couldn't name. You looked at life differently. You saw beneath the surface. You felt things others ignored. You listened to that still, small voice, even when it went against the noise of the crowd. That wasn't imagination. It was insight. It was the whisper of the truth calling you to remember what you came here to do. You didn't come here to conform. You didn't come to play small, to beg for validation, to trade your truth for approval. You came here to awaken. You came here to remember. You came here to create from the power within, not react to the limitations without. But you must protect that remembrance, because this world, this system is designed to keep you asleep, to keep you distracted, to keep you busy, proving yourself instead of embodying your truth. And if you're not watchful, you will trade your power for comfort, your calling for convenience. The chosen cannot afford such trades. You cannot live like everyone else, because you do not carry what everyone else carries. You are holding a frequency that must be preserved. a vibration that must be guarded, not with paranoia, but with purpose. This means you must be intentional about what you consume, what you watch, what you listen to, who you spend time with, not because you are better, but because you are becoming the living expression of something higher, something sacred, something unseen. And becoming is not passive. It is not a process that unfolds while you drift through life half awake. No. Becoming requires vigilance. It requires choosing your thoughts the way a warrior chooses a weapon. It requires feeling the fear, the doubt, the resistance, and moving anyway. Because every moment you delay your awakening, the world delays in receiving the light only you can give. You do not exist in isolation. Your obedience to your truth ripples out far beyond what your eyes can see. Your alignment activates others. Your decision to believe becomes the permission someone else needs to rise. That's why the enemy of your purpose is not always loud. It is subtle. It sounds like just one more day. It looks like distraction masked as entertainment. It feels like fitting in. But the chosen must live above that frequency. You must wake up and stay awake. This world will offer you everything except the one thing you need: stillness. Because in stillness you remember. In stillness you hear. In stillness the truth rises from within and exposes every lie you've built your life around. And once you see clearly, you cannot go back. You cannot pretend to be blind. So you must protect the stillness, protect the silence, protect the spaces where your soul can breathe. This is your sanctuary. This is where the blueprint reveals itself, not through chaos, but through quiet. And it is in these quiet moments, when the noise fades and the masks fall, that you realize you were never waiting on the world to change. You were waiting on yourself to see, to accept, to align. And in that alignment, the world begins to move around you. But the pull to forget is strong. There will be moments when you will want to go back to the familiar, to the version of you that didn't know better, that didn't carry this weight. There is a loneliness that comes with awakening, a solitude that the ego resists. But it is necessary, because there are parts of this journey you cannot outsource. There are initiations no one can walk for you. You must pass through the fire alone. Not because you are being punished, but because your purification is personal. What you are shedding cannot go with you. What you are releasing cannot build the next version of your life. And so the chosen must not only protect their vision, they must protect their process. Everyone wants the promise, but few want the process. But it is the process that shapes you. The waiting, the wilderness, the silence, the seeming stagnation. These are not delays. They are divine design. They are the spaces where your faith is forged, where your identity is stripped of everything false, where your desire is purified until only what is real remains. This is why you must trust the timing, even when it makes no sense. You must believe when there is no evidence. You must persist when others have stopped. Because you are not building something ordinary. You are birthing something eternal. And eternity is not rushed. Destiny is not microwaved. It is cultivated. It is watered with tears, with prayers, with sacrifice, with solitude. And when it comes forth, it does so in power. But you must not abort the process because of pressure. Do not let the world rush you into becoming a counterfeit version of yourself. Do not let time become your enemy. The one who sees within must learn to be patient. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. You are being refined. And every delay has been divinely appointed to strengthen the very thing you're called to sustain. So protect your timing. Do not measure your life by what others are doing. Do not compare your season to someone else's harvest. You are not on their timeline. You are on divine timing. And divine timing cannot be manipulated. It cannot be forced. But it can be missed if you refuse to align, if you trade presence for performance, if you chase applause instead of authenticity. You must protect your alignment like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your peace is not optional. Your clarity is not negotiable. Your joy is not a luxury. These are your weapons. These are your signs. When you begin to lose them, that is your warning. That is your signal to return to center, to return to truth. Because the moment you abandon your inner knowing to appease the outer world, you begin to decay. Not all death is physical. Sometimes the spirit dies slowly, buried beneath the noise of compromise and the weight of pretending. But it's not too late. You can return, you can remember, you can reclaim your power, not by force but by faith, by believing again, by seeing again, by speaking again those things you buried when life became too loud, too hard, too uncertain. Your words still hold power, your imagination still creates worlds, your attention still directs energy. So where are you placing it? What are you focusing on? What are you feeding with your faith? The chosen one must live intentionally. Nothing is neutral. Every thought is a choice. Every belief is a building block. Every word is a declaration. You must decide now what world you will live in. The world shaped by fear or the one shaped by faith. The world dictated by facts or the one built on truth. The one imposed from the outside or the one drawn from the inside out. And you must decide daily, hourly, moment by moment, because the world will try to seduce you back into forgetfulness, back into hustle, back into fear. But you are no longer available for that reality. You are no longer entertaining what drains you. You are no longer apologizing for your light. You are no longer shrinking for comfort. You are no longer pretending to be powerless when you know the truth, that your inner world creates the outer. This is the posture of the chosen. We do not react, we create. We do not beg, we assume. We do not strive, we align. We do not panic, we remember. The world may shake, the system may fall, but we are rooted in something eternal. We do not fear the storm because we are the calm. We do not fear the darkness because we carry the light, and we do not fear delay because we are walking in divine order. But we protect it. We protect the word. We protect the dream. We protect the vision. Not because it is fragile, but because it is sacred. And sacred things must be handled with care. So handle your vision with care. Handle your words with care. Handle your spirit with care. This is not weakness, this is wisdom. And wisdom is the chosen one's greatest wealth. So rise up now, not with noise, but with knowing. Not with fear, but with focus. Not with pressure, but with peace. You do not need to convince anyone. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to wait for permission. You are already chosen. The only thing left to do is remember and protect that remembrance until it becomes the only truth you live by. Remember who you are. The world begins to respond differently to you. Not because it has changed, but because you have. You no longer interpret life from the lens of limitation. You no longer beg life to be kind to you. You speak, you declare, you move as one who knows that the very substance of life is waiting for your instruction. It was never the world that needed to shift. It was your self-perception. It was the assumptions you held about yourself that determined the frame through which all things were filtered. And now that you remember, now that the veil has been lifted, now that you have tasted the power of true awareness, you must protect it like treasure. Because the moment you forget, the moment you fall asleep again, the old patterns will return, not because they are stronger than you, but because you allowed them back in. They never left. They were simply starved of your attention. And if you do not guard your attention will be hijacked, not always by evil, but by the ordinary. And for the chosen one, the greatest threat is not always tragedy. It is mediocrity. It is comfort. It is settling for less than what was placed in your spirit to create. You must protect yourself, not from others, but from within, from the subtle voice of your old self that rises when you are tired, when you are vulnerable, when you are uncertain. That voice will try to convince you that the dream is too big, that the promise is too far, that the calling is too weighty. But you are not here to entertain that voice. You are here to speak louder. You are here to override the programming. You are here to declare the truth until your entire being aligns with it. Not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. There is no going back. Once you have tasted truth, once you have glimpsed your divine origin, going back to a smaller life will feel like death. You may try to fit in again, try to play small again, try to hide the light, but you will feel the ache of your own denial. And that ache will remind you, you were not made to dim, you were not made to shrink, you were not made to dilute your power to make others comfortable. You were made to embody the word, to become the living expression of what was spoken over you before the foundations of the world. But embodiment does not happen by accident. It requires focus. It requires reverence. It requires you to stop treating your life like a rehearsal. This is not preparation. This is not the prelude. This is it. This is the moment. And it demands all of you. Not the masked version. Not the version that waits for approval. Not the version that tiptoes around truth. But the full, raw, unfiltered you. The one who knows, deep in their bones, that they carry something eternal. That their imagination is not just fantasy, but blueprint. That their emotions are not just passing waves, but signals of alignment or resistance. So you must be honest with yourself. Every time you abandon your inner knowing to fit into the world's narrative, you diminish your own power. Every time you pretend not to see, not to know, not to feel, you betray the very light you were sent here to carry. This is not the path of the masses. It is the narrow road. It is the unseen walk. It is the invisible discipline of holding fast to the truth when all evidence suggests otherwise. It is the sacred rebellion of choosing to believe, not because of what you see, but because of what you know. And what you know must become the foundation of all things. Not a hope, not a wish. And knowing, a certainty that cannot be shaken by circumstance, that cannot be weakened by delay, that cannot be uprooted by doubt. This knowing is your anchor, and you must return to it daily, because the waves will come, the storms will rise, the opinions will multiply, but your knowing is eternal, your knowing is divine, and it is this knowing that you must protect more fiercely than anything else. There will be moments when you are misunderstood, moments when those closest to you cannot comprehend the shift happening within. Do not let their confusion become your cage. You were not called to convince them. You were called to transform. And transformation is not always visible at first. Sometimes it happens underground, in silence, in solitude. Sometimes it is only later that the fruit reveals what was growing in secret all along. So do not rush to prove yourself. Do not waste your energy trying to be seen. Your being is enough. Your alignment is enough. And when you are truly aligned, the right doors will open, the right people will find you, and the right timing will unfold without effort. But if you compromise your identity for visibility, if you trade authenticity for attention, you will build a life that looks good on the outside, but leaves your soul starving. You must protect your energy. Like a sacred well, not everyone is meant to drink from you. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every opportunity is an assignment. You must discern, not from fear, but from alignment. The more you live from the inner world, the more obvious the outer world becomes. You will begin to see the difference between noise and truth, between distraction and direction, between flattery and favor. And you must follow the inner compass, without apology, even when it makes no sense, even when others question it, even when it seems risky. Because the inner guidance never leads you astray. It leads you deeper into your own becoming, and in that becoming you will face resistance. Not because you're wrong, but because you're disrupting everything false around you. Your light will expose what others have buried. Your truth will rattle the cages they've chosen to live in. And in doing so, you may feel alone. But do not mistake solitude for abandonment. The chosen are often hidden before they are revealed. They are refined before they are released. So you must embrace the hidden seasons, the quiet places, the sacred in-between. This is where your roots grow deep. This is where your spirit becomes unshakable. This is where the fire within is purified. So that when you rise with power, not hype, not noise. Power, the kind of power that cannot be faked. The kind of power that comes from one who has died to the old self and awakened to the eternal self. That is the destiny of the chosen one, to die to illusion and awaken to truth. But awakening is not a one-time event. It is a daily decision. It is a continual shedding of what no longer serves, a constant recalibration, a willingness to be emptied again and again so you can be filled with what is real. And each time you choose truth over comfort, alignment over appearance, purpose over popularity, you evolve, you rise, you become. And in becoming, you will find that you are no longer the person who started this journey. You have outgrown the identities that once defined you. You have outgrown the stories that once held you captive. You have outgrown the places that once felt like home. This is the cost of elevation, and you must not mourn the loss of what no longer fits. Let it fall away. Let it dissolve. Let the shedding happen without resistance. Because what you are stepping into requires all of you, the real you, the whole you, the fearless you. Not the version that plays it safe, not the version that pleases everyone, but the version that lives from truth, breathes from spirit, moves from vision. This version of you is not afraid to protect what matters, not afraid to walk alone, if necessary, not afraid to let go of what was for the sake of what is becoming. And you are becoming, not later, not someday, now, with every breath, every choice, every thought. You are shaping the future, not just for yourself, but for everyone connected to your obedience. Your rising is not selfish. Your light is not just for you. Your healing is not in isolation. As you awaken others. As you rise, you lift others. As you become, you call others into their own becoming. But it begins with protection, with intention, with awareness. You must become the gatekeeper of your own soul. You must decide what gets access, what gets your attention, what gets your agreement. Because what you agree with, you empower. What you allow, you attract. What you tolerate, you live with. But you were not chosen to tolerate anything less than truth. You were chosen to live in the fullness of divine identity. You were chosen to embody the kingdom within. You were chosen to walk in power, in peace, in purpose. So choose now, not from fear, but from truth. Choose to protect the vision. Choose to protect your energy. Choose to protect your inner peace. Because from that space, all things flow. From that space, the impossible becomes inevitable. From that space, you move mountains, not by force, but by faith. Not by striving, but by being. And so you return, again and again, to the stillness, to the knowing, to the truth that sets you free. And you protect it not just for yourself, but for the world waiting to see what happens when a chosen one finally remembers. The world is not waiting for another imitation. It is not crying out for another voice echoing the noise of fear. It is groaning for the appearance of those who dare to walk in the fullness of their divine inheritance. The chosen are not selected to blend in. They are born to disrupt, to dismantle illusions, to awaken those who sleep under the spell of limitation. But that awakening comes at a price. It comes with warfare, first within. The battle is not out there. It is in the mind. It is in the heart. It is in the constant moment-by-moment decision to live from truth, not reaction. You must guard your thoughts like sacred ground, because every thought you allow is planting something. The chosen cannot afford to plant seeds of fear, of doubt, of self-rejection. You must become aware of what you are feeding. You must become deliberate about what you believe, not what you say you believe, but what you actually live by, what you act on, what you assume without questioning. That is the soil from which your entire reality grows. So if the fruit in your life is bitter, do not blame the conditions, examine the root. Go within, adjust the soil of your inner world, because the chosen do not wait for the world to shift. They shift within, and the world mirrors them. That is the sacred order. That is the eternal law. As within, so without. As above, so below. The unawakened seek change externally. The awakened become the change. They understand that nothing is more dangerous to illusion than a mind aligned with truth. That is why you must protect your awareness, because awareness is power, and those who walk in it walk differently. They don't need to shout. Their very presence speaks. But with awareness comes responsibility. You cannot unknow what you've seen. You cannot go back to playing the victim once you realize you are the creator. You cannot return to bondage once you've tasted freedom. Not truly. You might attempt it, but your soul will resist. Your spirit will cry out. The dissonance will be too loud to ignore. And eventually you will return to truth. Not because you are forced, but because you are called. The calling doesn't leave. It waits. It whispers. It reminds you, even in your silence, that there is more. It pulls on your heart when you try to settle. It shakes your world when you try to numb. Because the chosen are not allowed to sleep forever. The awakening must happen. The birthing must come. And the labor cannot be avoided. It is not comfortable. It is not clean, but it is holy, and it is necessary. So when life begins to shake, when relationships fall away, when plans dissolve, do not curse the chaos. Look deeper. Ask what is being made room for. Ask what is being purged, because the chosen cannot carry dead weight into destiny. You cannot build what is sacred on a foundation of compromise. You cannot walk into promise carrying the baggage of past identities. That is why the process is painful. Not because you are being punished, but because you are being pruned. And pruning feels like loss to the flesh, but to the spirit it is gain. It is freedom. It is space for the new to emerge. The chosen must learn to bless the breaking, to embrace the silence, to find peace in the wilderness, because these are the proving grounds of purpose. It is in these hidden places that clarity comes, not through noise, but through surrender, through letting go of the ego's grip, through releasing the need to control every outcome. That's when you remember you were never meant to chase anything. You were meant to become the vibration of what you desire and let it come to you by law. The law cannot be broken, but you must align with it. You must submit to the flow of divine order. And submission is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is power cloaked in humility. It is the recognition that you are not here to force, but to flow, to align so deeply with the divine that your life becomes a living prayer, an embodiment of the sacred, a reflection of truth in form. But that embodiment demands protection. Protection of your thoughts, protection of your tongue, protection of your gaze. Because where your attention goes, your urine flows, and where your energy flows, your world forms. So stop giving your attention to what drains you. Stop feeding cycles that no longer serve. Stop watering seeds of doubt just because they are familiar. Familiarity is not freedom. Comfort is not calling. You must get uncomfortable enough to grow. You must leave the known to walk into the unseen. That is the territory of the chosen faith. And faith is not fantasy. It is not denial of reality. It is deeper vision. It is seeing beyond the senses. It is knowing what the world cannot show you yet, and holding to that knowing until it becomes flesh. The chosen lead by vision. They move by inner guidance. They are not swayed by trends, by opinions, by the sway of the world. Because their compass is internal, their instruction comes from the secret place. And so they must protect that place. Protect it from noise, from overexposure, from anything that would dull the edge of clarity. Because clarity is costly, it must be fought for. It must be preserved. And when you have it, you must act on it. Because to see and not move is to fall back asleep. And for the chosen, sleep is not an option. Not now, not when the hour is so urgent. There is a window of grace open to you now, the door into deeper knowing, a divine invitation to step fully into who you are. But you must answer it. You must respond. You must prepare yourself to carry what you've been shown, because revelation without responsibility becomes fantasy. And you were not given dreams to escape. You were given dreams to build, to ground heaven into earth, to manifest the invisible through the temple of your being. You are the vessel. You are the channel. You are the point of contact between the eternal and the temporal. Do not take that lightly. This is why you must protect your temple, your body, your mind, your time. You cannot afford to waste what has been entrusted to you. You cannot afford to live as if this moment is not sacred, because it is. Every second is a chance to realign. Every breath is a chance to return. And every choice is casting a vote for the reality you wish to live in. So choose with reverence. Choose with conviction. Choose with the awareness that your life is not random, that your presence is purposeful, that you were sent here not just to survive, but to awaken, to illuminate, to break cycles, to speak truth, to shift atmospheres simply by being in alignment with yourself. That is the legacy of the chosen, not just what they do, but what they are. Walking mirrors of the divine, living evidence of what happens when heaven finds a willing vessel. But willingness alone is not enough. It must be matched with discipline, with devotion, with consistent action. You cannot build on occasional inspiration. You must anchor into daily intention. You must rise and choose again and again and again, until what was once effort becomes nature, until the truth is no longer something you practice, but something you are, until you no longer need to remind yourself, because your very breath affirms it. I am chosen. I am light. I am the vessel. I am the Word made flesh. And when you reach that point, when your being and your belief are one, you become untouchable. Not because you are immune to pain, but because you are anchored in purpose. Not because life becomes easy, but because you become unshakable. Your identity is no longer in what you have, or what you do, or who approves of you. Your identity is sealed in spirit, and that seal is protected by your awareness, guarded by your decisions, and strengthened by your obedience. So protect it. Fiercely, daily, silently, if you must. Let the world wonder what changed. Let them question your glow. You do not need to explain. You do not need to convince. You need only to be fully, fearlessly, faithfully. And in your being, you will become a lighthouse for others, a signpost for those still wandering, a signal to the weary that it is safe to wake up, that it is safe to rise, that it is safe to remember. Because when one chosen one remembers, it sets off a chain reaction. It ignites something ancient in others. It reminds them of what they've always known, and that is the true power of awakening. It is never just about you, it is about everyone connected to your yes. Everyone watching your becoming, everyone whose chains are loosened just by witnessing you walk in freedom. So, protect your freedom, protect your truth, protect the sacred fire within, for it is not just a light to guide you, it is a torch to lead generations. And you must understand this. You carry more than just your own destiny. Your life is a blueprint, a pattern, a testimony being read by hearts you may never meet. They are watching not just what you say, but how you live, how you recover, how you stand when everything tries to make you fall. You are becoming the living proof that it's possible to rise from the ashes, to speak light into darkness, to rebuild a world that once crumbled under the weight of fear and forgetfulness. And so you must protect yourself, not out of paranoia, but out of honor. Not because you're afraid of being attacked, but because you are finally beginning to value what's inside you. You are not here to convince the darkness that you are light. You are here to shine, to be, to embody. And sometimes in that shining, you will expose the shadows that others are still hiding in. Do not let their discomfort dim your light. Do not reduce yourself to make others feel safe. The truth does not apologize for being the truth. The light does not apologize for revealing what was hidden. You do not need to shrink so others can breathe easy. The breath in your body is sacred. It was given for a reason. It was given so that you could speak, create, and bring forth what this world is lacking. There is a roar in your belly that will not be silenced until you speak the words that were always yours to release. There is a vision in your mind that will not leave you alone, because it is not just an idea. It is instruction. It is blueprint. It is divine architecture seeking form. And you are the only one who can build it. That's why it won't let you rest. That's why every attempt to conform, to be normal, to fit in, has always felt like dying slowly. Because something in you knows the cost of ignoring the call. You can pretend not to be chosen. You can try to blend in. You can try to numb yourself with busyness, distraction, and approval. But the ache will return. The ache of knowing you are meant for more. The ache of seeing what others cannot see, and carrying what others do not understand. And eventually that ache will either break you open or bury you under your own denial. That is the choice the chosen must face. Will you embrace the discomfort of becoming, or settle for the illusion of safety? Safety is an illusion. Control is an illusion. The only real safety is in alignment. The only real protection is in awareness. And when you are truly aware, you are not afraid. You move differently, not in fear, but in power. You know what to say no to. You know when to walk away. You know when something is not in resonance with your path. You don't need to justify it. You don't need to explain it. You just know. And that knowing becomes your shield. That knowing becomes your compass. But the moment you stop protecting that knowing, you begin to drift. You begin to question what was once clear. You begin to let the voices of others override the still small voice within. And soon you find yourself disconnected. Not because the truth left, but because you stopped listening. That's why protection is not a one-time act. It is a lifestyle, a way of being, a sacred discipline. You don't just protect yourself from harm. You protect yourself from forgetfulness. You protect yourself from becoming numb to the very thing that makes you divine, your awareness, your presence, your connection. And when you live from that place, when your inner world becomes more real to you than anything outside, you step into a different dimension of life. You begin to move with grace, speak with authority, walk with intention. You begin to shape reality, not through effort, but through alignment. Your words carry weight. Your silence carries power. Your very being becomes a force of transformation, not because you are better, but because you are aware, because you are awake. And awakeness is rare. Not everyone wants it. Many would rather stay asleep. Many would rather live in the safety of conformity, in the numbness of distraction, in the ease of ignorance. But not you. Something in you kept searching, kept asking, kept knocking, and now the door has opened. Now the veil has lifted. Now the real work begins. And the work is this: to stay awake, to remain faithful to the inner voice, even when the outer world is loud, to choose truth even when fear offers easier paths, to show up every day as the version of yourself that already knows, already sees, already is. That is your task. That is your calling, to embody the highest truth, not once, but always. And in doing so, to become a living invitation for others to remember as well. There will be those who cannot receive you. Do not let that discourage you. The chosen are not sent to be understood. They are sent to shift atmospheres, to disturb false peace, to ignite dormant spirits. And sometimes that means being resisted. Sometimes that means being rejected. Sometimes that means walking alone. But you are never truly alone. The moment you align with truth, you align with all of heaven. You are carried, you are backed, you are held. And that knowing must become your confidence. Not the opinions of men, not the accolades of the world, not the temporary validation of the crowd, but the eternal assurance that you are walking in divine timing, divine authority, divine protection. When you know that, truly know it, you become fearless, not reckless, but rooted, not arrogant, but anchored. And from that place, your decisions are no longer based on fear. They are based on truth. Your pace is no longer frantic. It is intentional. Your presence is no longer reactive. It is creative. You begin to create from the inside out, not just with your hands, but with your words, your thoughts, your assumptions. You begin to notice how the energy you carry affects everything. And so you become more mindful, more reverent, more protective. You stop leaking energy on things that are beneath your calling. You stop explaining your peace. You stop negotiating your standards. You stop playing with fire and calling it love. You stop giving time to what drains your soul. Because now you see clearly, now you remember. And with that memory comes power. Power to choose. Power to create. Power to command. Not in the way the world defines power, but in the truest sense. The power to be without fear, to stand without apology, to live without compromise. And that is the power that shakes systems. That is the power that births movements. That is the power that transforms generation. But it must be protected. Because anything powerful will be tested. You will be tempted to return to what is familiar. You will be invited to compromise in subtle ways. You will be presented with opportunities that look good, but are not aligned. And in those moments, you must be rooted enough to say no, rooted enough to wait, rooted enough to walk away from what glitters but does not resonate. Because you know what's at stake. You know what you carry. You know who you are. And when you know who you are, everything changes. Your yes becomes sacred. Your time becomes precious. Your presence becomes intentional. You stop entertaining anything that does not honor your truth. And in that stance, you become magnetic. Not because you are chasing anything, but because you are aligned with everything you are meant to attract. What is yours finds you. What is not yours fades. You no longer need to force, convince, or strive. You simply are. And in being, you draw all things into divine order. So remember who you are. Protect who you are. Live as who you are. Because the world is shifting. The veil is thinning. The hour is now. The illusions are collapsing, and those who are chosen must rise. Not someday, not eventually, but now. Now is the time. Now is the call. Now is the moment where everything can change. But only if you say yes. Only if you protect the treasure within. Only if you walk like one who knows the kingdom is not coming. The kingdom is here, and it is within you. So stand tall in this knowing. You are not here by accident. You are not imagining your purpose. You are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be, hearing exactly what you were meant to hear, remembering what your spirit has always known. You are chosen not for comfort, but for impact. Not to mimic the world, but to remake it through your alignment, your awareness, and your unwavering protection of the truth within you. Protect it before it's too late, because the hour is urgent. The time for hesitation is over. Let every breath you take from this moment forward be a declaration: I will not shrink. I will not forget. I will not abandon the fire I carry. I will rise. And in rising, I will awaken everything around me, not by force, but by simply being all that I am, fully, boldly, divinely. You are the sign. You are the light. You are the proof that the divine still walks the earth. Now walk it like you know.